That is fine. Okay, everybody, welcome to Live with Prima. My name is Miranda, and we're going to be creating or recreating this chandelier tonight. I did this about a year ago when they were first being released, and I was so excited because, I mean, I love altered items, obviously, and these are made of wood, and they're perfect for altering. I mean, you can go simple, you can go all out. I think this one I would consider all out because I did a ton on it, and I'm sorry it is so hard to show all the details on here, but I have tons of pictures on my Facebook and stuff. So I'm going to show you two ways to get this effect that I did on the background here. I don't know if you can tell a difference between the backs and the fronts of these wood pieces, but I did two different things. So I'm going to give you two options here. One's really simple, one's a little more involved. It's not hard by any means, it's just an image transfer. So anyway, this is what we're working on. I wish I had a picture printed out to show you all. I'm going to stick it over here beside me. And then before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and do the announcements really quickly. Excuse me while I pan back down, y'all. I'm sorry for that. Okay. Alright, so of course if you guys have been following the blog, you know that National Scrapbooking Day or International Scrapbooking Day is on Saturday. It's on May 7th on Saturday. We are kicking off our Live with Prima classes at 6 a.m. Pacific time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern time. Delena's the first one up, and we will be hosting shows all day long. It's a super fun day, y'all. You can go to the blog today and see lineups for most of the shows and info on who the hostesses are going to be and everything. It's just going to be super, super fun. So that's on Saturday. Let's see, there will be giveaways and lots of happenings on all of Prima's social media for even more fun and inspiration, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. So there'll be huge giveaways. I'm having a giveaway on my Ustream. I think Robbie is too, a couple other people. It's just going to be a jam-packed fun day, y'all. Also, next week's class is Sharon. She will be altering the cover of a baby album using the brand new Heaven Sent collection. This will be part 1 of the class, and in June she will hold part 2 for the inside pages. So tune in on May 10th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Okay. Carrie, can you still hear and see me okay? I'm making sure nothing's frozen up over here on my end before I start on this chandelier here. Okay, the chat and everything's all frozen for me, so if I'm not seeing something, I am so sorry. Okay, so to prep, when you get the wooden chandeliers, the DIY chandeliers, they're going to come in a box like this, which I've been working on mine. And this is the traditional version right here. You can get the bohemian one, but this is the traditional one. And on the back there's a picture. I could just use that picture. There's a picture of the one that we're doing tonight. But it comes with just 2 wooden pieces of a chandelier. Okay, so I've painted and prepped the other side, and this is the one we're going to be finishing up over here. I had to do a lot of this prep work ahead of time because it's just involved. I did an image transfer on one side, so I went ahead and got most of that done, and then I did the painting too, which I have some more to do with y'all, but I did as much prep work ahead of time as I could. Give me 1 second, y'all, to re-pull up the chat because it has messed up on me. So hold on 1 second, y'all. Let me pull this back up. And now it's working. I see Carrie talking now. Okay. Let me pull this little window over here. I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay. Oh, sorry, Carrie. Yeah, thank you for the SKU number. I forgot to mention that. Hello, Julianne. Hello, everyone. Okay, so to prep one side of these, I do an image transfer on. I've done this on shows in the past, and if you're unfamiliar and you get any confusion on them, you can look it up on YouTube. There's tons on the Prima channel of people who have done them. I've done them on shows. They're really easy. Basically, all you do, and for these, the really cool part was I used up all of my scraps from the Garden Fable line. So let me grab a piece of paper really quickly. What you do to do an image transfer is you just start with your wooden base. And I painted, when I did the chandelier, it was kind of like a happy accident. All the blue that it looks like it's deliberate, I really was just trying to paint the edges here. I don't know if you can see, but these are, I guess, laser cut, or I'm not really sure, but they have a dark edge on them, which is fine if you're going for like an antique style, I'm stumbling on my words, If you're going for like an antique look, it's fine. A distressed look, that's what I'm going for. But I wanted a really shabby look, so I painted all of my edges with the blue chalkboard paint. And I wasn't thinking that when I did my image transfer that the blue would show through, but it did, and I loved the way it looked, so I just went with it. But the item number for this chalkboard paint is 577216. This is my favorite color. It's the egg blue, and I'm almost out. It's just so beautiful. So what I did is I painted all of my sides with the blue, and then I just kind of, you know, randomly went inward, but I left some spots wood deliberately. That way you got like a really cool background look. So to do an image transfer, all you're going to use is the soft gloss gel. That's what I used to do mine with. This is from the Art Basics line, and the item number is 961435. So you're just going to take one of your paint brushes, and I'm very liberal with it, and I'm just showing y'all what I did because I'm not actually going to do it. Just put a ton on there. Be very liberal with your gel medium, anything you want to use, and then whichever side of the paper you want to show, that's the side you're going to adhere down. Okay, so just make sure it's adhered on there really well. Give it a few hours to dry, and then you're pretty much good to go. So I've already got this side prepped, except this small edge over here, I left it undone. That way you guys can kind of see how quickly it takes to do the last step in an image transfer. And basically all you're going to do is spray this with water over and over until you get all of the paper layers off. So what I do is I just kind of wet it pretty evenly, kind of saturate it, and let it set for like just a second on there, just to kind of moisten up that paper and make it more easy to come off. Okay, so once you get the paper wet, you're just going to start rubbing with your finger, and you can see how easy the layers of paper start coming off. Okay, and what it's going to do is reveal that paper underneath the print that we want to show. So it's pretty, it's time consuming when you're doing a large object, and I consider these chandeliers, since you're doing, you know, both of the pieces, it was a little time consuming, but I really love doing image transfers with my pattern paper because it's just a really fun way to use them and get that pretty background that you want. But I'm going to show you on the back an easier way to achieve pretty much the same look. So you're just going to keep rubbing until you get all of that paper pulp off of there. And you'll re-wet it, and anytime, if you're wondering if you've got all of the paper layers off, if you see any white when it's dry, like this side right here, this piece over here is dry, and you can still see kind of like a white fuzz on top, that means you need to do a little more spritzing and a little more rubbing. You don't want to be too rough, because like right here, you'll start peeling off your paper. It's no big deal because this is a very shabby look, so I don't mind if it comes off. But if you want perfection, be very careful when you're rubbing, not to rub too hard, and make sure you put enough gel medium on there so you have really good contact with your paper. Yes, the blue is the prettiest color ever. That's my favorite chalk paint. It's so beautiful. I've almost used the entire thing. You'll see when I open it up in just a second. But I love all of Prima's chalkboard paints. They're so pretty. Okay. So that's pretty much it for now. You can see now that the script paper that I wanted to show is showing underneath. And this side's a little hazy still because it's not wet, so it may look like it's not done. It is. This is just wet, and when it's wet, it kind of shows up much better. But this is great for using up your scrap pieces of paper, which is what I did on this one. I just took all my little scrap script papers and just Mod Podged them onto there basically in a different way. Not Mod Podging, but collaging them on there. You can also take a rag and use that, or like a baby wipe, to make sure you have all that excess paper pulp off. Okay. Alright, I'm shaking the table. Sorry, y'all. Okay, once you have that done, I go back in with my chalkboard paint just on some of my edges to kind of make that blue stand out a little more. But you can see, like, right here, this is like a clear area where there's no paint, so the wood is showing through, and then you've got areas where it's like all blue. This side got a little heavy on the blue, but on the other one you'll see a lot of the wood still showing. So I'm going to grab one of my paintbrushes really quickly. I'm just using one of the Finnabair paintbrushes, and I just kind of, you can see I've used like this entire thing. I love this paint so much. I'm just going to go in on some of my edges while it's still wet And then I just kind of like blend it with my finger inward. And this just kind of softens up the look and ties it all in together. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go all over, and I use my hands a lot. My hands constantly have like paint and ink and all kinds of stuff on them. They look awful. I'm not one of those girls who has like pretty manicured hands all the time. I wish I was, but I'm not. Okay, so if you see any areas where you over rubbed, like over here, like this is completely wood showing through, I would hit those with paint and cover that up. So it's not a really big deal if you end up, you know, rubbing some of it off. You can fix it. And these top parts are going to get covered anyway, so no biggie. So anyway, just go around and randomly add a little bit more blue paint. Okay. And that's it right there. So that's the piece that is image transferred, and that's the look you have. Okay, this back part has not been image transferred, so what we're going to do on it is we're going to use our stamps. We're going to use some of the Garden Fable stamps, which I love so much. We're going to use this set right here, which is super beautiful. Garden Fable is forever one of my favorite stamp sets. But the item number for this is 579135. Okay, we're going to use all three of these right here. And I'm going to use a STAYS-ON ink in Jet Black just because this is going to be getting wet and I just want to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm going to start with this one. I have two of these sets, by the way. That's why I broke these ones out, because I've already used them. So I'm going to just focus on getting these script areas inked and not really worry about this top part. So I'm just going to kind of randomly push into my pad. And I'll start at the top. And just you don't want to like get complete coverage with these. You're going for kind of a sporadic look. So I'm just kind of randomly pushing around on my pad, not covering the entire stamp with ink. And just going all the way around with this. And after we get done adding all of our stamping on here, it's really hard to tell the transferred side, the pattern paper transfer to the back side, especially when your chandelier's hanging together with the embellishments on it. So if you don't feel like fussing with that paper transfer, you don't have to. Just go ahead and do it this way. And all I did again was I painted all of the edges with that chalkboard paint, and I just made sure to leave some of the areas of the wood showing through. I just kind of really wanted it to look two-toned and not have complete coverage with my blue. Alright, so I'm going to go in with this a little bit more, and you can kind of stamp once and then stamp off in another area, and it'll create like, you know, a lighter black. Now I'm going to use the stamp right here from that same set. I love this one. It's got pretty greenery and a beautiful flower on it, and it's kind of curved a little bit, so I like to use it like on these bottom portions that are kind of swooping down. So I'm going to put it right there. And I very rarely use a block. I pretty much always use my fingers. So I'm going to use the leaves on the end of this to kind of accentuate some of these curved areas. I really, really love this stamp set. It's super beautiful. And then I'll hold it up close in just a second so you guys can see how this looks. I'm going to go up here and do that. If you used a couple of different, oh, that's so pretty. I love this stamp. It's just beautiful. So by the time we're done, it's got like its own script thing going on. So when I was doing this project originally, I was like, I totally just wasted hours doing that pattern paper transfer because this looks just as good and you really can't tell much difference. I like both looks. I can't decide which one I like better, but alright, make sure to get, these are, you know, like faux beads, which I love. Faux beads, faux chain, like chandelier drops, whatever you want to call them. It's so pretty, but I make sure I get some stamping on there too. We're going to use this last stamp here, which I love. It says the end over here, and it's got a butterfly. My camera's not picking it up very well, but it's from that same stamp set, and it's so pretty. I love it. Alright, so I'm going to go into some areas that are blank, so that butterfly will show because it's so pretty. And we're going to use those resin butterflies with it too. Thank you, Carrie. I love doing the paper transfer look. I guess I was just really surprised that this side, you know, it was really hard to distinguish in the photographs, the difference in the sides. So it was kind of cool that I was able to mimic it, but I love using image transfers. I know a lot of people think they are time consuming, but I don't really mind. I love fussy cutting. I love doing all that kind of stuff. Alright, I'm going to stamp the butterfly over here one last time, and then I will hold it up and show you all. And I have the other set to this, the other side to the chandelier. It is already done over there drying, so I'm not going to break that out until we're done with this one. Okay, so I think, actually I forgot one thing. We're going to do some stamping on the front too. So this is what we've got so far. Just randomly stamped, but it looks really pretty up in this area with that floral stamp. It's so pretty. It's hard to show this on camera, but hopefully y'all can see that. I'm going to go in a couple more places with the script part of this stamp, just so we really look like the front part of the chandelier piece too. Okay, and then just so everything really blended, I did it on the front too. I used the same stamps on the front as well. Not as much, not as heavy, but just in some of the areas, just so everything kind of tied together. Okay. You're being censored, Napor. Let's see. Puffin Liz, I'm seeing you haven't seen it for sale at your regular shop. I know they're on Amazon right now. I don't really know where else the chandeliers are, but I'm pretty sure Amazon has them. I haven't seen them at any of my local stores yet either. I wish. Okay, I'm going to use these same stamps. Just go in again randomly, just so everything ties in well. My chat keeps freezing too. I'm glad it's not just me, because it keeps freezing up over here too. Okay, I know it's not just my computer now, at least. Alright, last one is the floral one. Ooh, Ray! Hello, sweetheart. Thank you for coming. So, scrapbook.com has them. That's awesome to know. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can always count on somewhere online having them. All the online stores usually have the new Prima releases. Alright, that is it for the stamping. Let me move these out of the way. I swear I could stamp forever and just keep going, but I'm gonna like restrain myself. Hello, Ray. Okay, so we've got that side done now. So you can kind of see when it's unassembled, you can definitely tell a difference between the front and the back. So it just depends on the look you want, but once we get all the pieces adhered together, everything just kind of looks more uniform. Alright, so I'm gonna do away with the chalkboard paint. I'm gonna go ahead and clean the rest of my paintbrush off. I have just a tidbit of paint left on there, and I don't like to waste, so I'm just going to randomly brush it on there like that. Okay, and now we're going to do something really fun. This does take a while to dry, so we're going to go ahead and start on that. On these pieces, I love that you have like these faux candles going on here. So what I did is I used some glass glitter to make like a flame. I wanted to accentuate the flame on that. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and start on the ones right here and here, and I used the Typo Bulbs to do that. The beautiful Typo Bulbs from the Junkyard Findings range, these right here. I love these so much. So we're going to do 4 of those, and the item number for this is Typo Bulbs 2. That's what they look like. Oldie but a goodie. And the item number is 891534. I mean, anything from the Junkyard Findings collection is like classic to me. I love all the shabby chic treasures and Junkyard Findings. Thank you so much, Carrie. Alright, so I'm going to take 4 of these out because this does take a little while to dry, so I'm going to go ahead and set them over and let that be drying. And actually, before we do that, we'll go ahead and get this drying too. Okay. So on the initial chandelier, I used 3D matte gel to adhere my glass glitter, but since I've made this, it's like a year later, Prima now has the sculpture medium, so I'm going to stray away and use this because I really like this much better. This is the sculpture medium in clear. It's one of the newer Finnabair products. The item number is 963019, and what I mean, it's great for fabric. That's mainly, you know, what it's for, but I have been using it almost like a glossy accents of sorts. I really love the dimension it gives things, and it's a great adhesive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to go right onto my little top part of the little faux candle. I'll hold it up when I'm done, and I am just going right around there like that and adding the sculpture medium. It's going to give it a lot of dimension, so that way hopefully you guys can see it's really bubbled up there. It's going to really look more dimensional, more like an actual flame. I love the sculpture medium. Carrie, I'm sorry, I probably should have told you I was straying away from the original, but Prima keeps coming out with awesome stuff, so hey, figured I would use some of the new stuff here. Alright, once you have it on there, I mean, that already looks really pretty. I just love the way that looks. I usually just take my fingernail here on the bottom and just kind of push up and make sure it looks perfectly rounded, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, admittedly so. So I'm going to flip it around and go ahead and do the back side, and we're going to go all the way around the inside flame section. I did prep the other side already, so this part is done on the other one. It does take a little bit of time, but it's not that time consuming. Okay, so we're just going to pour. And I don't even have a heat tool. Somehow my heat tool has just disappeared from my craft room. That big unsightly paint stripper I have that I call a heat tool. And I accused Chris of stealing it. He's like, it's mine. It's my paint stripper, and you're accusing me of taking it back. But I think he took it. I did search his shop though, and I didn't see it. So I'm going to have to go get a new heat tool, unless I find that one. I have been redoing my craft room, so it could be in here somewhere. Alright, so I'm just going all the way around, y'all, and putting the sculpture medium on there, and then tapping off the excess. I kind of move it around as I do so from side to side, just so that the glass glitter really adheres well. And I just go in and make sure I have a really good round shape on the bottom. So I'll show you these two up close, and then I'll go ahead and finish going around. Okay, and I'm going to have to randomly throughout this dump some of my glitter back in the bottle, because I am running low on this glass glitter. This is the sterling glass glitter. I think I forgot to give that item number. It's 961626. It is my favorite glass glitter ever. I love this glass glitter. It's amazing. So I've used it a lot. I don't know if you guys can hear the sirens, but they have been going crazy tonight. I hope everybody's okay. I always get scared when I hear them. And I don't know if you can hear that, but my dog is howling. I don't know if you all have dogs that do that, but every time an ambulance, fire truck, anything goes by, it drives my dog nuts. But I think my dog's like sympathetic that something is wrong, so it kind of howls. It's really cute. Alright, I'm going to finish this side and then I'll flip it over, because I think that'll be a little bit quicker. This stuff is awesome. I love this sculpture medium. I know it's meant for fabric, but I played around with it one day and I just love using it for stuff like this. It does work great on fabric though, I tell you that. Let's see, Robbie did that dress form using the sculpture medium, which was super cool. So it works on paper well too. Who else? I think Rika just did two canvases using it on fabric. It's just such cool stuff. Alright, we've got one more on this side. So you get a lot of repetitive steps on these chandeliers if you're doing it like this. Ray, since you're on here, Miss Beautiful Beachy Chandelier. Oh, that was so beautiful. I don't know how many of y'all participated in the Prima Wall Art Contest, but it was so fun. I really enjoyed it, and I loved looking at everybody's entries. And Ray, she's on here tonight, she did hers. So here's what it looks like so far. and she did one of these chandeliers, and she made it all beachy and beautiful. Oh, it is so amazing. It's beautiful. I love that, you know, so many people can get the same exact thing and you just get all these different results, you know, because everybody has their own take on it. But the beachy one was awesome. I kind of leaked over a little bit there, so I'm just kind of fixing it with my finger. This is a very thick medium, so as you guys can see, it's easy to work with. That's what I love about it. And the gel medium is fine. It would work great on this, the 3D matte gel. Or, you know, the gloss gel, the soft gloss gel, any of the Finnabair mediums you have would work fine for this. I'm just into the sculpture medium right now, so that's what I chose to use. Alright, this one I'm having to clean up just a tidbit because I kind of went crazy with the sculpture medium. You can use scissors if you don't want to use your fingers or a bone folder, whatever you have on hand. Okay. Okay, 2 more on this side, y'all. 3 more, sorry. I try to do any prep work ahead of time that I've got to do a lot of, like this. But I couldn't get this done in time. Hooray, you're going to have to link your chandelier now because it's amazing and it is something definitely to see. I mean, her wall art period's beautiful, but the chandelier, oh, it's so gorgeous. I loved it. Just the look, that, like the finish on it, it was just beautiful. Okay. And 1 more to go, and then we'll do the Typo Bulbs, which we just put on the end, and it really looks super cool. I'm not even squeezing this bottle. It kind of has its own flow when you tip it upside down. It just kind of flows on its own. You don't even really have to squeeze it. Okay, so now that side is done. I'm going to set this to the side for just a second to be drying while we work on our Typo Bulbs. I'm going to get this excess glitter off of here. And I just spilled it. Good job, Miranda. 1 second, y'all. We may have to use some micro beads now because that is like back behind my computer and there's no saving it. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so I'm going to grab those Typo Bulbs, and again I'm going to use the sculpture medium. You could use I used the 3D matte gel originally. I'm only going to add it to the bulb part, not the little metal section down here. And the sculpture medium is great because it is so fluid, it really just kind of flows onto it very nicely. I love this stuff. And you know what, y'all, I'm going to swap over and use the silver micro beads for my Typo Bulbs because even if I didn't just spill those, I might not have had enough left to do all 4 of these. And I have like 5 containers of the micro beads. The silver micro beads are just a staple. I think they're on every single project I ever do. So I'm just going around and filling it in, trying to make sure it's not too much. You can kind of use your finger, and yeah, I added a little bit too much there, but it's really easy to get the excess off. I'm just going to use this little rag there and wipe from the bottom. You don't want it on the back because we're going to be adhering it down. Okay, now we're good to go. So I covered that with the sculpture medium, and now we're going to use the silver micro beads. And we're doing it the same way. These are a little smaller, so it takes a little more time. Just kind of pouring them slowly on here. But the sculpture medium is a perfect adhesive. Okay. And then just tapping the excess off, and if you get some on the back, just try to rub it off because we want to have a flat surface to glue with. Okay, and that is what your bulb will look like. Hopefully the camera will pick that up because it's really pretty. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do the other ones the same way. I'm going to keep making sure the back is clean. That way I don't have this gluing down to my mat while it dries. Okay. And I'm going to grab my new thing of micro beads. Okay. Try to go a little bit faster and not add so much this time. And then I'll just kind of use my finger to spread it around. Like this. Just kind of tapping it around. Maybe the 3D matte gel would have worked better for these bulbs, but we're committed now. We're committed to the sculpture medium. Okay, so once again, just covering it with the sculpture medium and pouring our micro beads on. I love these micro beads. They are so pretty. And I love that you get really even coverage with that sculpture medium. I feel like with like the matte gel, because it's so thick, you have to be really careful with how you spread it on with a paintbrush because it'll be uneven. I was about to just pour it on with no sculpture medium, but this is very fluid, so it spreads very evenly. Okay. Ray, did they see your beautiful chandelier? Linda, I don't know if she's still on here, but her work is so gorgeous. I know she would rock one of the chandeliers too. I'm just super thrilled with all of the beautiful alterables that Prima has came out with. Those beautiful new frameworks, bird cages. I mean, even the older stuff like the, you know, the Finnebear phone and the old Ingvild Bohm television and the frame. I mean, when you do altered art, you're constantly on the search for like cool items to alter. And I love the fact that like Prima has all of it. So they have all the items you need and the stuff to decorate it with too. Alright, last one. Linda, you would rock one of these. If you don't have one of these yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. I can like already picture what yours would look like in my head. I have 3 of them hanging up in my craft. If I could pick up my webcam right now, I would show y'all. But I have 3 of them hanging up in 3 corners of my scrapbook room now. Which my room, I've been doing a room redo with the new IOD range. And that's fixing to start showing on the blog next week. So I'm really excited about that. Any of you who've ever seen my scrapbook room tours in the past, you'll know like how much help I needed. My room, oh, it was bad. It was really bad. So I have just been like redoing everything with all the new IOD stuff, and I'm so happy with it now finally. All right, we've got our last one done. And I'm gonna pour my micro beads back in here. Nice and carefully, no spilling this time. Okay, I'm going to leave those there to dry, and we are going to, let's see, what else can we work on while we wait on that to dry? We can do our chandelier pendants. Okay, I have a different type here than I used on the original one. I have so many packages of these, I just decided to go with this one. But there's quite a few different sets of these Relics and Artifacts chandelier pendants. They are amazing, each and every one of them, and I love them so much. This particular one is item number 942687, but I have every single one of them. In fact, I was going to show, I keep this little bin here full of like pieces that are out of packaging, and you can see in here I have like a ton of these chandelier pendants. I've been using a ton of them, but I also have a ton left over. So I might even pull some from out of there because you know what? They're already out. They're the same ones, and they're sitting in this bin waiting to be used. So I think I will pull from here and then see if I need to open a package. Might as well use up our scraps. This is one of the ones I used on the regular chandelier originally. Alrighty. I think that's good. Some of them are already decorated too. You've got beautiful shapes. All of these are so beautiful. Also, before I made the chandelier, they have those crystal drops now too, which are made specifically for those chandeliers, and they are amazing. They're so beautiful. All right, so to cover these, let me see if I have enough here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, I do. Let me put one of these back. Let's see. You're going back up. Okay, so to do this, I'm only going to use the bottom portion of these pendants. I'm not going to use the top part. So I'm going to go ahead and like bend that flower out of there because I'm not going to use it. Let me grab my wire cutters really quickly. Don't know why I don't have them over here already. 1 second, y'all. If I can find what I did with them. Okay, so I'm going to cut this top part off because I just want to use the bottom. I like to keep the little wire part on here for now because it helps me hold it while I'm covering them. And then I just toss the top part into my little leftovers bin. Okay. And you know what? I'm only going to show you how I did one of these and you'll get the idea because, again, this is a little bit time consuming. I mean, these look beautiful just blank the way they are hanging on your chandeliers or whatever project you may do. And my Saturday is National Scrapbooking Day, which I said earlier, but I'm doing a Ustream focusing on these. I do these and one of the parts, so I love these relics and artifacts. Okay, so to cover this, we are going to paint these with the chalkboard paint again. And that might be all I do for tonight. What I did is the same thing as here. I poured microbeads on afterwards. But since I've already shown y'all that technique, I think maybe just painting them will suffice for tonight. But I did cover them with microbeads on the original. But these take mediums so well. This one has so many facets on it. It looks beautiful. I absolutely love it. So I'm just going to put a little bit more to darken it up. But you can see if you kind of keep your little metal piece on there, it gives you something to grip while you're painting, which I love. I have like a million of these relics and artifacts. I can't get enough of them. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I think we're just going to leave it like that for tonight. What I did is while it was wet, I went ahead and poured my microbeads on, so the paint was my adhesive. I didn't add anything else, just straight on top I added the microbeads. Okay, so I'm just going to paint all of these. You're right, Carrie. And the thing is, we have a spare bedroom, so I kind of crammed everything in there that was unsightly in this room. And I've got myself like barricaded out of the room. I have so much stuff back there. And I did a ton of decluttering and throwing stuff away too, but I still have stuff back there. My problem is if I see something cool, like at a thrift store or, you know, Michael's or whatever it may be, like a cool item that can be altered, I grab it, you know. And when I was organizing my craft room, I realized I have like, you know, hundreds of items waiting to be altered. Some of them I've had for years, but I eventually end up getting to them and getting the right inspiration, so I don't want to ever like toss them out, so I keep them. But now a lot of them are in the back bedroom at least, so they're not taking up the entire scrapbook room. Okay, who all is going to be tuning in on Saturday? I've had some people say they've got events going on and graduations and stuff, so they won't get to join in, but it's going to be super fun. I think it's the first time I've ever really celebrated National Scrapbook Day, so I'm pretty excited about it. I've already kicked Chris out for the day. I'm like, you got to find something to do because the house is going to be mine. I think Tiffany said she kicked her hubby out too for the day. These look pretty with just the chalkboard paint. I mean, I don't even know why I covered them up because they're so pretty. I love this one. It's got so many different shapes and curves, and it's beautiful. And they just take this paint so well. I love it. Okay, last one. Awesome. I'm so glad you're going to be there. I hope you get to make it. Linda, you better be there. And Prima also just announced their design team call, which I know I've been looking to see who all has tried out. Such an exciting but like nerve-wracking time of the year for so many people. Alright, so that's what it looks like with the chalkboard paint. But I wish everybody luck if you applied. Best of luck. I think I just submitted mine last night finally. Alright, so now we are going to grab our 2 pieces of chandelier and I'll show you how they snap together so easily. Let me move all these out of the way really quick. Okay. Actually, let me just do it this way. I'm just going to move the whole mat because we are done with the mediums for now, and I can set this over here to dry. Okay. So we've got our 2 separate pieces here. And I'm afraid that this sculpture medium might not be dry yet. This piece is. This is the one I did earlier. So let's check and see just how dry this one is. If we end up knocking off some of the glass glitter, it's already really firm. Ah, awesome. It's pretty firm already. So we're good. Okay, when you get these 2 pieces, they have like these slits in the middle, which is great for like if you want to create one of these and ship them out to someone, you can disassemble it for easy, you know, shipping. So what you're going to do is just snap them in together just like this. I'm trying to do this on frame, but this chandelier is so big. You know what? Before I snap them together, y'all, change of plans. We are going to go ahead and do some of the embellishing because once I snap them together, it's going to be really hard to get it on camera anymore. So I've got some fussy cut pieces here from the Garden Fable line. Let me grab my pad really quickly. I used the A4 paper pad of Garden Fable. This is one of my all-time favorite lines. I just absolutely love it. The item number is 847333, and the paper I'm using is this one right here. It's got all these beautiful roses on it, so I just fussy cut a few of them out. I love that paper. So what I'm going to do to start, I'm going to go ahead and put my other one over here more so I can see it. And the first thing that I did was I just started working these in different areas. Some of them I cut like the branches and leaves out with. Let me move my lighting really quickly so that's not blinding us. So it's really pretty. I love these little fussy cut pieces. So I'm just going to kind of start tucking them in on the sides randomly. Let me grab my glue gun. Actually, we're going to go with the matte gel. Okay, I'm going to use the 3D matte gel because I'm going to ship this out to someone and I don't want it to fall apart. The item number is 961398, and this is like my favorite for adhesive, just using it solely as an adhesive, and I usually just dip my finger in there and put it right on. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit. It really doesn't take a lot, and I usually kind of flex my little ends of the flowers up and kind of bend it just to give it a more realistic shape. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit there, and then I'm just going to push that right on there. Okay. For once I'm not using my hot glue gun. Somebody's got to be proud of that. Whenever I'm shipping something out to someone, I try to use a good adhesive. So over here we're going to have this piece coming up off the side. And it really does not take much of this 3D matte gel. This stuff is a great adhesive. And even when it's not completely dry, it's very firm. It's a really thick medium, so it holds very well. Alright, I like to tuck some of them like kind of behind the piece, coming out like that. So I'm just dabbing the 3D matte gel. And I just keep like a really dirty rag nearby that's not very important. I can just wipe my hands off on it. So over here I've got this one kind of on the back side, coming forward. Okay, that might be okay for that one. Maybe one coming up here somewhere. And I even left the stem on some of them so it would look really cute, like it was part of the vine, because we're going to add some of the Prima vines on here. Okay, that's good for that side. So we're going to flip it over and do the same thing, just add a few. And what I did, when you notice on the back side, you can see the pink paper from the roses we did on the front. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to place these where it covers that up, if that makes sense. I'm going to try to cover up any of those spots. So that's where those flowers are going to go. And it looks kind of funny now when it's just the fussy cut pieces, but once we add our sprays and everything, our flower sprays and our embellishments, everything kind of starts blending well together. Alright, over here I'm going to add a fussy cut a little birdie out of the paper collection too. So I'm going to add it over here on this side, just like that. And one more up here. Okay, now we're going to start taking our beautiful Prima flowers and sprays. On the original one, I used these Summer Carnation sprays, which I thought I had like a ton of. It's the ones that come like this. I'll show you really quickly. This beautiful spray right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Those Summer Carnation ones, they're so pretty. The tendrils on those are unlike any other spray. They're really, they're beautiful. They're really green. They're kind of like velvety to the touch. But for this one, we're going to kind of change it up. And we're going to use one of my other all-time favorite sprays, which is the Gracie Vine in the Almanac collection. The item number is 556280. So we're going to use these. You could use the Providence sprays, any Prima spray that you have would work great for this. So I'm going to cut it into 2 pieces here using my wire cutters. Okay. Okay, so for the first one, I'm going to kind of have it coming down from the top. I'm going to kind of curl my vine inward a little bit. The Summer Carnation vines are, I agree, Ray, those are like my favorite of all time. I love those so much. I tried to get them on my last order, but they were out of stock. I love them so much. I used to find them and hoard them, and then finally I was like, Miranda, come on, you got to use them up. Alright, I'm going to have this first one coming from the top, like just like this. And when you're gluing, just make sure you're not gluing anything where this slit is, because that's, you know, how you're going to adhere your 2 chandeliers together. So just make sure, you know, you're not doing that. I'm going to use the 3D matte gel again. I'm going to be really liberal on the back of these flower sprays because I don't want them to come off when I'm shipping it. And I'm glad I'm doing these 2 pieces apart, because my original one I hooked them together and then decorated. I kind of hung it up and then decorated it, but I'm shipping this to someone special, so I don't want to have anything. It's going to be too big basically if I hooked it together and then decorated it. I need to keep it where it'll snap apart still. Alright, so I'm just pushing down in those spots where I added the gel, medium, and that might take a little while to dry, and that is fine with me. Just going to make sure I have some areas where it's nice and thick on there. And then I like to leave other areas loose to kind of move around and flex. Okay, so that is good for me for now. This other little piece, we're going to come on the right side and have it coming over here like that. Okay. Using the matte gel again on the back. I have a huge basket full of like leftover pieces of sprays and stuff. I probably had enough Summer Carnation just in that bin alone, but I didn't look. Alright, I'm trying not to cover up all of my fussy cut roses, basically just trying to accentuate them. Okay, so I'm just pushing down for a minute. And if it feels like it doesn't have enough adhesive under it to hold it, just add a little bit more. This dries clear, so it might look like a big glob, but if you've used this medium, you know how it dries clear, so you're good to go. Okay, I'm going to push it down just until, there we go, it's sticking down. Okay, so now we're going to grab some more flowers to fill in our spray area and save these other pieces. I used the beautiful Garden Fable flowers, these right here. These are the sprout ones. These are probably, the shape of these are beautiful. They're one of my favorites. The item number is 580803. Barbara, thank you. Yes, the person I'm shipping it to doesn't know, so I'm hoping to surprise her and hopefully she'll like it. But I'm trying to do that. Like every Prima show, we recreate something, so I'm trying to gift out the second one that I make because, I mean, I don't really need to keep two of each of these. So I'm going to use these flowers, and then I'm going to use the Isabella flowers too. I'm going to pull these out. I love these flowers so much. They're beautiful, beautiful flowers. Okay, they look like this. They're so pretty. My light's kind of harsh, but the shape of these two shapes are my favorite. I love these so much. These are my go-to. I could have like a million of these and it still wouldn't be enough. Alright, so I'm going to start going in and adding these flowers just here and there. Again, using the matte gel as my adhesive. Putting a pretty good amount. Hot glue, of course, is so much quicker. I wish that I could use it, but I don't trust it in the long run to last. Okay, I'm going to grab another piece of my spray over here. I'm going to add it to this little part over here. Okay, just like that. I'm just pinching it for a second until I know it's got a really good grip on there. Okay. Then I'm going to start tucking in some more of these flowers. I'm going to use this larger one down here. And then we'll grab the other Garden Fable flowers. I'm not a master at doing clusterings of flowers. There's some people who just do amazing at it. I've never been that great. I'm cutting some of that stem off there because when I'd adhere them together or snap these together, I think that's gonna be in the way. Alright, so I'm just giving them a good push until it's adhered, and you can always go back in after everything's dry and really fluff it up. So for right now, we've got this going on. And it kind of looks weird until you have it snapped together, and then everything kind of starts making more sense. But for now, it does look a little funny. Okay, I'm going to grab some of my sprouts over here, the Garden Fable sprout ones. And I'm going to use this script one, since that's actually matches the paper I used. This one, I love these so much. Okay, this one I'm going to kind of tuck in. Trying to find the perfect one here. I think we'll go with that one right there. Sometimes I'll use the back layer of petals to wrap around when I'm adhering, and then that leaves the rest of the flower to kind of move freely. Okay, I'm going to grab one or two more, and then we're going to start using our beautiful resins. I use the butterfly resins so often. I know I tend to overuse them, but they're just beautiful. That range, the Junkyard Findings and the Shabby Chic Treasures, that's just like classic to me. Classic Prima items that I will use over and over and over. I don't care if they're 15 years old. I love them. Carrie, I didn't cut any of the leaves off the back of these. You should be proud. I left the leaves on. Okay, so I'm going to grab a couple of embellishments here. I'm going to use some of the Satan crystals from the Garden Fable line, these right here. The item number is 579371, and I'm mainly using these clear ones. These have such a really cool, it reminds me of dragon skin. It's got like a really cool finish to it. So I'm just going to randomly kind of place them around here. I like to place them on these faux little like beading strips. I think it looks really cute like that. So I kind of add those on there. They're like the perfect size for it. I'm going to add some of this one too. And these are self-adhesive, so I'm not doing anything other than just sticking them on there. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm going to grab some butterfly resins. Let's see here. I don't have the item number handy carry because I actually, these are out of the package. Let me see what I even did with them. I thought I had everything out. And no, there they are. Okay, I don't have the pack with me because these are the last two that I had out of the pack I used on the original. So these two are kind of both going in opposite directions. They're so beautiful. I love these butterfly resins. It's in my supply list, but these are from the Shabby Chic Treasures collection, and I love them. I use these all the time. So let's see, I'm going to place one of them right here, like it's stuck onto that vine. And I do wish I had a little bit of hot glue here because these are a heavy item, and I like to use hot glue and gel medium to make sure they stay still while they're drying. But hopefully we'll be okay here. Let me add some more down there. I'd rather use too much than too little. And like I said, this does dry clear, so. And this vine is completely movable on the bottom. I've just got a few areas adhered down. So after it's all starting to dry, you can kind of move it around a little bit. And then this one, I'm going to have it, let's see, we're going to put it over there, like, no, decisions, where does the butterfly go? We'll put it right there. Just kind of tucked in, coming out of that flower spray. Okay. I love these butterflies. They are just so beautiful. Alright, we're going to grab some of the clock faces. These are a staple in my collection. I have a bunch of packs of unopened ones again, but I mean, I just have a ton open, so I try to use those up when I can. And the good thing about these clock faces, I mean, I think we all have used these over and over and over. But you can even cut them in half and get double the use out of them. Like the big ones you can cut in half and tuck in and out of your layers, which is really cool. Let me see if I have any smaller ones in this file. Nope. Okay, so we're going to use these ones. This one I'm going to have coming up right here. So I'm going to pull up with my scissors this little paper flower here. And that one, so I have somewhere to adhere. So I'm going to put the gel medium on the bottom corner right there. I think I got using my finger from Finnabair, and I am no master like her, so I get pretty like messy with it, but it's just quick and easy. And I've ruined so many paintbrushes because I forget to wash them out afterwards, so I just started using my finger. Alright, so we're going to start tucking in those. I might use one more over there somewhere, or I might not. Let's see. Yep, let's go down low with it though. Let's have one kind of down at the bottom there. I feel like that area is getting neglected. And I am not even like referencing my original one. I'm using the same embellishments, but I'm not mimicking the exact placement, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of winging it here. Okay. I love this matte gel because it is so thick. Okay, this is what we have so far. with the first one. So you can see already, even if they didn't give you like the second piece to make this 3D, this would be cool on its own. It would really, really be cool. All right, we are at the hour mark, so let me grab my other one and let's start decorating it so we can snap these pieces together. Let me grab one more flower spray. Because both sides need a flower spray. This one I've already cut apart in here, it looks like. This is, again, the Gracie ones, the Almanac Collection, 556280. Okay, so again, I'm just going to adhere these. I'm going to do the back side on this one instead of the part where we did the image transfer. I'm going to use the other side. So I'm just being pretty generous on here with my gel medium. I'm going to come down on the little beading right here. That might look really pretty. Alright, I'm just holding it in place until that gel kind of starts gripping. And then I'll move on. Okay. Then I'm going to add the bigger piece here, which I've kind of got weirdly bent up in there. I don't know what I was working on, but obviously something with a curved shape. Excuse me, y'all. Okay, and I'm going to add this one, let's see, right there, and then we'll tuck in some of those fussy cut flowers. Getting these sprays how you want them is part of the fun. I love that. They're already, you know, and I usually hate leaves, but I only like leaves if they are on a Prima spray, and then I love them. Isn't that so weird? If it's just a regular leaf, I don't ever use it, but the ones on the sprays I love. It's so weird. I always cut off the leaves though, usually. Okay, I'm going to add that one there. I'm going to grab some more of these fussy cut flowers and just really quickly, I know I'm running out of time, so I'm going to try to start really tucking these in here. We're almost done, y'all. Okay. So you're just repeating the same thing you did, just, you know, tucking in elements as you see fit, adding as much or as little as you want. It's totally up to you. Let me add a little bit more gel under that leaf there. Don't want it going anywhere. Okay. And let's add one more kind of tucked there. And then we can add our embellishments on this side. Okay. Alright, now we're going to use some more of those clock pieces. We'll use this one here. I'm going to cut this one down the middle so we can use it in two areas. So you can totally stretch these out. I just cut that with my scissors. It's really easy to cut. It's a thin metal. And I'm going to have one of them kind of going down below that spray. And this really gives you more bang for your buck because you're just stretching it all out. I can't read the comments, y'all. I'm so sorry if anybody's saying anything and I'm not responding. Once I get down to the wire, I get in crunch mode. Alright, I'm going to add this one up here on the top. Carrie, no, when you use your leaves, they look gorgeous. Like, you do a really good job with them. Mine, it doesn't look good when I use, I don't know. Mine just looks bad. I cannot make leaves look good. They never look right on my projects, ever. But when you use it, I love it. I love the way yours looks. Oh, we're kind of messing up the back part here with that sculpture medium still being wet. Let me kind of prop it up a little bit. Alright, now we're going to add our sprout flowers, just kind of here and there. And then we'll connect them together and add our bulbs and our chandelier pendants. I'm just going to kind of add these randomly. I try to decorate all the way around on these because when you hang them up, you can control the way that they spin, I guess, or you know which side's facing, but they're going to spin no matter what you do, I feel like. So I kind of want all the sides to look pretty. That way, no matter what, if it's spinning around, it's still going to look pretty. I'm out of the Louviers, and I didn't use the Louviers on this one, but on the last two chandeliers I did, I used the Prima Louviers, which really is like perfect. It makes such a huge difference using those Louviers in here. It's the only light I use at nighttime in my scrapbook room. I turn on my, am I saying it right? Yeah, the Lanties and the Louviers. I turn those on at nighttime in my room, and it looks so pretty. That's the only lighting I use at night in here. Alright, so now we're going to see how to snap these bad boys together. And I'm not going as detailed on this one because we're live, you know, but you can see how it comes together really quickly, just using your crystals and your little fussy cut flowers, or not fussy cut if you don't like to fussy cut. You know, that's totally up to you. And I'm going to add a couple more of these just randomly. I'm even going to use some blue ones. I didn't think I was going to, but I am. Okay. Alright, now we're going to add our chain and then snap them together. I forgot about the chain. So I used a couple of different memory hardware chains. I'm out of most of them right now, except I have this one right here. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name because Frank gets all fancy and I cannot pronounce them. The item number is 990701, and this is a very thick chain. It's very pretty. I love this. It's different size links in there. So I'm going to cut this into, let me see, I kind of hold it up here and see how far I can stretch it. I think I can cut it in half and then cut it in half again and use it 4 times. I think I can make that work. Okay. Okay, so I'm cutting it in half, and then I'm going to cut it in half again. And we can string this along with some pearls. Okay, and then I'm cutting this one in half again too. And then I have a couple pieces of the antique chain that I used on the original one, but they're out of the packaging. Alright, so I cut that into 4, and then I have a little thing here full of the regular chain that I used on the original one. Once I open the packaging, I tend to kind of, well, that's tangled up, just to kind of put them in little bins to organize them, but I still have tons of this chain. Okay. I've got a tangled up mess. Maybe I should have cut the packaging. Okay. Cut this one in half. Once we snap them together, we'll add our chain. Alright, we're good to go. Okay, let me grab the piece to snap together. So we've got these 2 pieces so far, just like this. Here's this one, and then this one. Okay, so then, like I said, you're just going to snap these together. These 2 inserts just go, let me figure out how I want to do it, just like that. Okay, so you're just going to start sliding them in together, and if I get off camera, I'm sorry y'all, but it's very easy to do. I just hold on to the bottom here and just kind of start pushing it upward. Watch it not do right, because I'm live, of course. It really is super simple, y'all, I promise. I'm going to kind of go off camera here, I think, because I'm having a little bit of difficulty here. Okay, technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, so it just snaps right, boom, and you heard it click. Once you hear that click, it's got a little notch in there, you know you're good to go. So now I'm going to have to pan upward a little bit, and you might see the bottom of my short y'all, and I'm really sorry, but this is a large item. So once you have it pieced together, you can see now that no matter which way you turn, you've kind of got something pretty showing. So this is what I'm intending to be the front of ours. It's got the most embellishments, so I'm going to consider this area the front, okay? So I'll focus on adding like more embellishments there, you know, stuff like that. That's going to be your main side, I guess, so to speak, okay? So we're going to add our Typo Bulbs now, and they're not completely dry, but good enough. And you can see, I don't know if you can see through, but that sculpture medium dry is completely clear. You cannot see that it's there at all. It's still a little wet, but for the most part, it's good to go, okay? So we're going to, again, use the 3D matte gel to adhere this down. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a foam dot really quickly just so I know this doesn't move while we're trying to do this live. Okay, so I'm going to use one foam square on there just to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere, because that would be bad. So I'm going to go above that with the gel medium. And we are just going to add it on there. Just like that. I'm trying not to push too hard because I don't want to make my microbeads fall down. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when you add your little metal or your little light bulb pieces up there. Okay, so we're going to do that to our other side over here. I'm sorry if this is getting a little wonky. This is such a huge item to be doing on a show. Don't know what I was thinking. Okay. I'm going to add one foam dot, and this is going to give it a lot of really good dimension too. Typically, if I have something like sitting up like this, I'll use hot glue and a really good glue. That way I know it's, you know, going to be sitting still while the really good glue dries. Alright, I'm just using the top of my thumb to make sure it's lined up with the top, just like that. And then I'm just going to kind of push in without pushing too hard and making the microbeads come off. Which I am a little bit, and that's okay. So I'm going to wait and add the other two after the show, because you get the idea. This is the front of it, so you can see now kind of what we're working with here. Alright, we are going to add our chain and our chandelier drops, and we are good to go. Let me grab my Prima wire really quickly. I'm going to use the wire thread. Basically, I'm going to make my own jump rings using this, and the item number is 572099. I used the, I think it's called Ecru, the brown color, on my original one, but I didn't see it over there, so we're going to go with the pink. So I'm just cutting it with my wire cutters. It's got, you know, wire in there, but it's also covered in this pink color, so it looks really, really pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a little piece off. And I'm going to gather, let me move this to the side really quickly. I'm going to gather some of my chains together, and I'm just going to start at one end and start threading it through. And you would do this with your pearls too, which due to time constraints I think I'm going to skip out on the pearls, but I'll hold them at the end and let you see. So you're just doing it like that. So what I did is I took my chandelier and I'm hooking this through on the top little part right there. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm referring to. There's a little slit right there in that faux beaded area, and I'm just slipping it through right there and then making a little twist, and then I'll slide that twist around to the back so you won't see it. I twist it 2 times and then I'll just cut the excess off. Okay. And then I'm just going to twist that around to the back so that you don't see that little blemish. You could use jump rings for this, but I liked the pink look of the chain being hooked to the little pink stuff. Alright, so what you're going to do here is just adhere it, or use another little piece and connect it down here at the bottom somewhere. How big you make your chain or your beads, whatever you want to use, is up to you. I made one bigger and one smaller than the other chain, like longer lengthwise. I made one piece longer. That way it kind of drapes really pretty. Okay. So once we have them connected like that, you can see how this prettier chain is bigger than the other. We're going to go down here, and there's actually holes. I don't know if you can see that or not, but these wood pieces come with holes that are made for, you know, adding your jump rings and adding your chandelier drops and all your pretty embellishments like that. Alright, so I'm going to add it like that, and then I'm going to come over here and pull this one towards the front some more. I probably should have cut that a little bit bigger, but it still looks pretty. All right, so you can see there you have your chain kind of draping. This one's longer. I mean, you can glue this in place if you wanted to. I like the movement of it, and I like that one's bigger than the other. So that's how I did mine. Okay, and then we're going to do it to the other side as well. Okay. Let me cut one more piece here. And let's see how bad I'm doing on time. Pretty bad, but I'm trying, y'all. I'm sorry. This was a big undertaking. I didn't quite think it was going to take me this long, but it is a big chandelier. And I'm sorry that you're seeing my shorts on the bottom of the screen too. Alright, so I added the chain and the pearls like all over mine, but you can just add it where you want to. It's completely up to you. Alright, so again, I'm just hooking it through this little section right here and twisting 2 times and then cutting off my excess. Okay, and then we're just going to hook it down to that hole again one more time. And we're going to use the same wire thread to do our chandelier pendants. Aw, thank you, Linda. You're so sweet. You are sweet. It's hard to get this bad boy on camera. I'm going to cut some of this chain off because it's a little bit too long. I can't find my Tim Holtz scissors. That's usually what I use to cut through all this stuff. But yeah, I really prefer this wired thread. I think it just looks so much prettier than like a jump ring on this particular project. Now, if we're doing a distressed vintage looking piece, I'm going to go for jump rings, but we're not. Alright, I'm just twisting it twice again and then cutting off the excess. And if it's showing a little bit, I can fix that later when I'm not live. Alright, so that's what it looks like when it's draping down. And wouldn't you know that I added it to the side I said wasn't the front. That is live for y'all. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and flip it back this way because that's where we added the chain. So really quickly, I'm going to add my Typo Bulbs here and then our chandelier pendants because I said I was going to do it over there and I messed up and did it on the wrong side. And I want you guys to see the full effect. Okay, so I'm just going to use pure foam adhesive here and hope it holds long enough for me to do this live. Okay, and you can see I rubbed off a big giant spot in the middle there. That happens sometimes when I'm using micro beads. The only tip I have is don't try to touch it up until your first layer is dry, like the medium under that is dry, because otherwise you're going to get this really weird texture to it. But if you wait until your medium underneath that's completely dry, then you can touch up any pieces that you kind of touched and messed up, if that makes sense. So I'm going to try not to do that this go around. Yay! Okay, so this has now become our front because I messed up. So you can see there what it looks like with the chain. You can flip it to this side. This side does not have chain, but you can still see the chain on there. Okay, so our last step is adding our little pendants, our chandelier drops. So I'm going to grab a pretty big chunk of this wire thread. And we're basically just going to start making jump rings again, or little twisty ties, whatever. And we're going to add those all the way around. And I use different ones. Someone asked why I didn't use all the same. I don't know. I just thought it would look cooler if I used different sized chandelier drops. So that's what I did. And especially for this live show, I used a bunch of different like leftover packs because I love using these relics. So I have a ton of them. And on my project for National, on the bottom here, on my project for National Scrapbooking Day, I'm giving away a pack of these and the hearts. So you guys can get some and have fun with them. So I'm just putting it through the little hole on my Relics and Artifacts piece where that wire hanger was at. And then I'm just going to hook it through the hole right here. I'm going to leave a little bit of space, and I'm twisting it on the back. I know that you can't see, but I'm just doing that same thing. I'm just making a couple little twists there. And then we've got our little pendant hanging right there with some pretty pink thread. And I just love the way that looks. I think it's so pretty. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way around. These chandeliers, these wood pieces come with holes everywhere. They come on the side here, down on the bottom, so you can pretty much drape chain, pearls. You can do your chandelier drops. It pretty much comes ready for you to add everything to, which I love, because if I had to put holes in the bottom of these, that would be a pain. Alright, so I'm just taking my relic again and sliding it through. And then there's a couple of different holes on each spot. There's 2 per side, and then 4 holes at the bottom for each piece. Alright, so again, I'm putting it on the bottom, twisting the back. Okay, just like that. So you can see now they just freely hang, and don't mind my little tail back there. I'll cut that off when I'm off camera. Okay, so it just hangs down there like that, and it's so pretty. I just love these so much. All right, we'll go ahead and add 2 more. We'll add this one and then a larger one on the end. Let me get the metal piece out of there. This is really easy to get out. All you gotta do is bend that back and then just push it out. All right, so 2 more little pieces here. Does anybody have any questions? Nope, there's really not a front and back. That's kind of how I try to make every piece, every side look pretty, because it's going to turn around, it's going to move. This hole got covered up a little bit when I did my image transfer, but just take your scissors or something sharp and you can just push it right out. I had some gloss gel stuck down in there. Okay, I'm just pushing it through again. You could add pearls to this, which I think I did on the original project. I just put one of the memory hardware pearls on top of the pendants, just for some added pizzazz. Okay, 1 more to go. And then I think we are done. I mean, I've got a few more finishing touches I'll suggest that, I did, but for the most part, it's pretty much done. I think you guys get the gist of how it was created anyway. All right, so we're going to do our last little drop here. Okay, cutting my excess off. And that is what it looks like from that side. You've got all of your little drops hanging. Let me pan up a little bit more. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, but hopefully you guys can see that a little better now. So we've got all of our little pendants hanging. We've got our faux candles up at the top of it. At this stage, once you have it pieced together, it's a really good time to kind of go in and add flowers to any areas that, like right there, it looks like there's a gap. So I would add something there. Any of your shabby chic treasures or anything you want to add basically would look perfect there. I'd probably just add another flower in there and on that side as well. The last step that I did, which I really liked doing, was this top part has a little oval section right here. Like the handle is where you hang it from, has a little circle shape. So I'm going to use one of my little resins, and let me grab it really quickly. This is again from the Shabby Chic Treasures collection, which I love so much. You get these 3 oval resins, and I'm going to use the smallest one. The item number is 892111. Okay. So I just took the smallest little resin here, this one, and let's see if I can get this on camera. We're going to have to zoom up again. You guys are going to be so nauseous by the time this is over. There we go. Okay, sorry y'all. And I'm just going to adhere that right there like that. And that is pretty much a wrap. Let me move my camera so it's not so bad. Okay, I'm just going to, it's kind of blanking it out, but hopefully you guys can see it when I get done. So I'm just adding some more of the 3D matte gel to the back here, all the way around it. Okay. and then I'm just going to put it right on here. It's like the perfect size to fit this little hole. So whenever I'm doing a project like altered projects, I just kind of look around in my stash and see what will fit it, okay? So I just added that resin up there. I hope you guys can see that. And that is pretty much it, y'all. So I will turn it around for you and show you. This is what you get when you're live. You get little holes in the middle of your bulb from knocking off the micro beads. I'm sorry, y'all. And then you've got this back side, which is undecorated so far, but I will finish doing it whenever I am done recording. And this is going to go out to a special friend of mine. And I'll cut all the tails off and everything. Okay, so this is what we've got. I hope you guys are inspired to give these a try. I know a lot of people have been intimidated to give them a try for some reason. They're really fun, y'all. And I have 2 snap guides on Prima's snap guide, snapguide.com. I don't know if y'all are familiar with it or not, but I have 2 tutorials on there showing really easy methods. Like one's just painting it pretty much. Nothing to it. You don't have to go super fancy. But I thank you guys so much for coming out. Let me see if anybody has any questions while I have a second. Thank you, Carrie. It was hard to do on here. I'm sorry for all the fumbling and spilling and going over, but it's really hard to do a big project like this, even with the prep work. I mean, I thought it would be a little quicker, but I always, I think, overestimate my time. But thank you so much, Linda. Thank you all so much for coming out. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop record, but I'll keep reading the chat to see if there's any